All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' Podcast. We're now in the 50s in episode marks, so we've been pretty consistent with these episodes pretty much since I came back with the podcast back in February. And I'm excited for today's podcast because today we're doing NBA prospect superlatives for the 2024 NBA draft. I did have this idea that I wanted to do, basically a prospect in each category of the game. And then Ryan Hammer, who I just had on the podcast to do a collab mock draft with, tweeted out this. So I'm going to use his exact categories that he put out in his tweet that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to give my runner-up. So we're going to talk about the prospects in this draft that have the best shooting, the best athletes, best in playmaking, best in speed, interior defender, perimeter defender, ball handling, highest floor, highest ceiling, versatility, game IQ, underrated overall, and then dog mentality he threw in there as well, which I'm looking forward to talking about. And yeah, if you guys disagree with me, agree with me, please let me know in the YouTube comments. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, let's grow this. Appreciate it if you hit that follow button. I'm over there as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, go subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I know a lot of you guys are only watching on YouTube. Links are in the description, man. You can listen to this in the car, at the gym, whenever you're just doing. So you can get into these superlatives. Now, the first one I want to talk about is shooting. And in my opinion, the best shooter for the 2024 NBA draft is going to be Reed Sheppard. I think there's a couple guys in here that you could definitely have in this conversation. Like I said, I'll be giving a runner-up as well. But watching Reed Sheppard at the Combine, like super close to him, every shot is the exact same, man. If you want to model, like if you're a young kid right now and want to model off a college game shooter, let it be Reed Sheppard. Every shot is the exact same. It's a beautiful form, and it goes in, man. He shot 54% from the field this past year at Kentucky, 56% on twos. He shot 52% on threes at a 4.5 clip volume a game, which is just incredible. And he's able to go off screens. He's able to catch and shoot. He's able to just shoot off the dribble. He is, in my opinion, the best shooter in this class. And the numbers back it up, the analytics back it up, but also just the eye test backs it up. I feel as most confident in Sheppard's jumper out of anybody else in this class, and that's why he's talked about to go number 3. And it's not more Rob Dillingham or some of these other guys that are good shooters like Dalton Connect. It's Reed Sheppard because of his shooting ability, and it's the numbers, it's the form, and I think the shot looks good enough. It's a quick release. He's going to be the best shooter in the 2024 NBA draft. If I had to give a runner-up, it would be Jared McCain, actually. I do like Jared McCain's form a little bit more than I like Rob Dillingham. Dillingham was also in conversation. You could throw him in a runner-up as well. McCain shot 41% from 3 this past season, 88% from the line. I didn't mention Sheppard, I think, shot, around 83% from the line. But McCain is an elite free throw shooter. The form looks just as good as Sheppard's, and it goes in, man. It looks the same every time, and I think he's got a quick release like Dillingham does. He can go off the dribble, catch and shoot, off screens, pull-up jumpers. McCain can do it all in the shooting aspect. And then, like I said, I considered Rob Dillingham, but I do think like Dillingham's shot could be a little bit more inconsistent, even though he was a fantastic shooter at Kentucky. Free throws were down a little bit as well, which I'm going to incorporate into the shooting superlative. So if I had to rank the top 3 shooters in this draft, it would be number 1, Reed Sheppard, number 2, Jared McCain, number 3, Rob Dillingham. And then you probably get into an argument between Dalton Connect, Baylor Shireman, and Johnny Furphy. I think some people will actually have like Baylor Shireman as number 1 now, even though he shot it great out of like a high clip and he's a great free throw shooter. But in my opinion, Reed Sheppard is the best shooter in this upcoming NBA draft. Next up, we have the best athlete in this class. And this is really nothing that you can look at analytics, dunks maybe for wings, but no, they're really just kind of eye test here. And in my opinion, Ron Holland is the best athlete in this upcoming NBA draft. That's why I have him so high on my big board. You guys, I don't know if this is coming up before or after it, but on Sunday, I think it's the 15th, 16th, 17th maybe? Whatever Father's Day is coming out. My top 30 prospect official rankings, and spoiler alert, Ron Holland is number 2 in that. So the reason why I have Holland so high is because his athleticism is better than anybody else in this class. He can pull off some insane windmill dunks, reverse dunks, alley-oops, putback slams. This dude is an athletic freak, and it translates over to the defensive end of the floor. And I think he does an incredible job getting back on defense and being able, like, say he gets beat by somebody, readjusting and kind of being able to make up for that loss on defense and even attacking the rim. He's a great finisher at the rim as well. And I think that's where his athleticism comes into play. And in my opinion, I don't think there's any debate for the best athlete in this class. It's Ron Holland. Amen Thompson type athleticism, a Sword Thompson type athleticism, and that's why in a draft class full of questions, I have Holland as high as I do. Overall, runner-ups, I mean, I had Alex Sarr here because somebody that's able to move like he can at his size, I mean, that's pure athleticism right there. And I also threw in Jacoby Walter as well because I think Jacoby Walter is a great athlete in this draft, and that's why he's still a borderline lottery pick in conversation for some of these numbers that weren't great, but they weren't poor last season. So yeah, I'd probably go Holland number 1, and then runner-ups of Alex Sarr and Jacoby Walter. All right, next up, we got playmaking ability. So someone that's able to make the right decisions. It could be going for a pass, it could be going for the shot, it could be knowing where to be on a floor at certain times and seeing the game 2 steps ahead. We do have game IQ or basketball IQ later on as well, but for playmaking, my number 1 guy is Nikola Topic. Nikola Topic is a phenomenal passer in this class. We'll talk about more about him. And the passer, do we have passing? No, I guess that is kind of playmaking here, but I think like pure passer, he's number 1, number 2, or number 3, and someone that is also able to maybe not make that extra pass, but know when to take his shots, know when to take a floater, know when to take a pull-up jumper, know when to call another screen. He's got one of the best playmaking abilities in this class, and that's why he's kind of looked at as the number 1 point guard in this class, depending on where you have Stephon Castle in your positional rankings. And Topic's playmaking ability is going to make him a top 10 pick, if not a lottery pick, and it's because of his playmaking. What's going to draw him back a little bit is the injury concerns going on right now with him, but his playmaking ability at his size of 6'6" is going to be amazing at the NBA level if he's fully healthy. Runner-ups, I did have Tyler Kolek as well. I think Tyler Kolek is a phenomenal playmaker. I think you can also have Rob Dillingham as well, and his playmaking is also being able to finish at the rim also. So I'm going to go Nikola Topic as my top playmaker in this upcoming draft. I do think Tyler Kolek is a runner-up because I do think Tyler Kolek does a great job getting teammates involved, but also knows when to use kind of the backboard too. I think he's one of the best guys at using the glass in this class, or someone that is on the shorter side compared to all these prospects as well, even though he's still a tall dude. So yeah, we're going to go Topic 1, Kolek 2. Next up, we got speed. This one was pretty easy. Rob Dillingham is definitely the quickest guy in this draft. That's why he's probably going to go in the top 10. There's a chance Dillingham goes in the top 5. He's 6'1", 6'2". Maybe he's not going to be the greatest defender if he gets switched on, but this dude's offensive ability is amazing. He could finish at the rim. He's, like I said, the quickest guy in this draft. In transition, it's game over. You are not catching up to him. He can slam it. He can finish at the rim with these acrobatic layups. He's got a great pull-up jumper as well from 3. I would like him to incorporate the mid-range a little bit more in his game, but this dude, yeah, his speed is able to help him out on the offensive end of the floor. And being a poor-ish defender, like, the speed is going to help out a ton to maybe make up when guys maybe get by him, but I don't think guys are going to get by him. If they are going to beat him on defense, it's going to be them using their strength and their physicality against Dillingham, which lacks a little bit. And then I also think Bub Carrington is runner-up as well for one of the quickest guys in this draft class, and Carrington being one of the younger guys in this draft class as well is a great sign for him. I'm a big Bub Carrington guy. All right, interior defender. I'm kind of looking at rim protectors here, but also my runner-up, maybe not even a rim protector. So I got Alex Sarr as my best interior defender. This is why he's talked about to go number 1 in this draft class, because at his floor, he's basically going to be a solid rim protector, but maybe a subpar offensive player. But I don't think that's going to happen because this dude has a great ball handle for somebody of his size. Hopefully he's able to space the floor and nice post touch around the rim. But yeah, his interior defense is great. He knows when to kind of swipe down at the ball, but also go up. He doesn't foul too much, but obviously that's going to be something he's going to work on or have to work on at the NBA level. But a phenomenal shot blocker, physical in size for some, or physical inside, excuse me, for playing older guys in the NBL, and also being someone that's as young as he is and as kind of skinny as he is for his size. I mean, he's not skinny by any means. It's not like Kristaps Porzingis Latvian skinny when he was coming over. Or even I think Chet Holmgren Gonzaga skinny. Like, he's definitely more built than those guys. But yeah, Alex Sarr, I think, is going to be physical inside. He's going to be able to block shots, get rebounds, and someone that can anchor your defense for years to come. If it's Atlanta, if it's Washington, we'll see. And then Ryan Dunn is actually a phenomenal inside defender. This dude, I mean, there's reasons why he's such a bad shooter, but he's still going to be borderline a first-round pick because of his elite defense, and he's amazing. We'll get to perimeter defense as well, but he's able to contest shots inside. He's great with his hands. He's kind of like OG Anunoby was in Indiana, if you remember that a little bit. And OG, actually, funny enough, was like supposed to be a top 10 pick in that 2017 draft, but then he had injuries that dropped him into the late teens, early 20s, wherever he went to Toronto. And Dunn is honestly, like, I'm very cool with him inside the post. It's like, like Derek White's post defense. Like, there's a little bit of that in Ryan Dunn as well, but he's lengthier, he's taller, he's, I think, more physical at Virginia than White was at he went to Colorado. And then for perimeter defense, Ryan Dunn is up there as well. Yeah, he's the best defender in this draft class. And if he could fix his shot by any means and be a 32% three-point shooter and a 50% field goal shooter, because he could finish at the rim, because he's athletic, this dude is going to be a top 10 player in this draft class, but he needs to work on that shot. And Ryan Dunn is quick on the perimeter, on the point of attack. He's going to make your life a living hell. And just overall, Ryan Dunn's defense is special. It is. Runner-up, I'm going with Stephon Castle, especially for Castle being a freshman and as good of a perimeter defender he was this past year at UConn was very impressive, and I think he's very smart. He's able to honestly adjust and move his feet and slide better than anybody else in this class, even against quicker defenders as well. Like, I'd love to see Castle guard Rob Dillingham. I don't remember off the top of my head if we got to see UConn play Kentucky this past season. I can look it up really quickly because that's a game I need to go back and watch to see, but I don't think they did, if I'm like remembering correctly. Yeah, they didn't play each other. Like, Kentucky played UNC, I know UConn played UNC as well. But yeah, that would have been a really entertaining matchup if we got to see Rob Dillingham get guarded by Stephon Castle. Damn, we got kind of robbed of that. I don't know if there's high school film. I don't know if there's like preseason. I don't know if there's any film of that happening, but that would have been a really entertaining matchup for sure. But yeah, so basically interior defender Sar 1, Ryan Dunn runner up, perimeter defender Ryan Dunn 1, Stephon Castle runner up, but also Alex Sar, a really good perimeter defender as well for somebody of his size. And once again, this is why he's supposed to go number 1. And then for interior defender, I also should give some love to Donovan Clingan. And I have to give some love to Zach Edey as well. All right, finishing at the rim. Number 1 has to be Rob Dillingham. This dude can finish with his size, is one of the more impressive traits in this draft class. 100%. He is, like I said, 6'1", 6'2", but he's able to absorb contact. He's able to avoid contact. He's able to just kind of move his arms in a way that it's like, not maybe as special as like Kyrie Irving's finishing at Duke or Derrick Rose's finishing at Memphis, but it's close to it, man. Dillingham is one of the best adjusters at the rim, and I think it's still even more impressive with his size, and that's why with his size, he's supposed to go in the top 10 because he's able to adjust and use his very quick reaction time to know the best angle to get the ball into the rim. Use the glass, be able to get floaters in, just finger rolls. He is the best finisher in this class, in my opinion, and it only makes it more impressive with his size. And another guy I wanted to give love to with their finishing, I had to talk about Dalton Connect. I didn't really have him for any superlatives in here, but I also feel very confident with Dalton Connect finishing at the rim this past season for Tennessee. I think he's someone that likes the contact, absorbs it, and also can finish with his strength too at the rim. He's 4 years older than Rob Dillingham and about 5 inches taller, so they're kind of completely different in their regards of just overall, like, I guess, athlete types and basically what they need to do to succeed at the NBA level. But I think Connect is, I'm going to use a stereotype here, but he's sneaky athletic, and he showed that at the combine as well. One of the quicker guys that he could jump out of the gym, and he's 6'6", and he's a great finisher. So I wanted to give some love to Dalton Connect there. On to the highest floor. I'm going with Donovan Clingan, and then we got kind of 2 close runner-ups. So I do think Clingan has a very high floor because I think at his worst, he's still going to be someone that's going to be able to move his feet, not be clumsy with the ball, get rebounds, block some shots, and be efficient at the rim. A pretty boring modern-day center, your Clint Capellas of the world. Mitchell Robinson with definitely a more promising offensive game for sure. Maybe Nick Claxton, kind of like those guys. They're not going to create their own shot. They're not going to be like Rudy Gobert level defense, but they could be above average at times and pretty positive at times as well. And I think that's what Clingan, honestly, at his floor, like at his ceiling, he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. He actually developed somewhat of an outside shot. But I think if none of that happens, he could still be someone that is a good backup big man for years to come and also could be a solid starting big man. Maybe not a top 10 starting big man, but I think his floor is a top 20 big man in this league. And that's why I have him as a top 10 prospect in this draft. And there's conversations that he could even go number 1, he can go 2, he can go 3. I think Alex Sarr has a super high floor as well for what he can be. I think if his offensive game really never materializes and he's not able to create his own shot, he's not able to knock down threes, he still has a great inside presence. offensively, better than Klingon in my opinion, and will come because Sarr's a little bit raw as a prospect right now, but Sarr's defense is NBA ready, and I think at his floor, he's also going to be an elite elite rim protector. Can also be a good perimeter defender as well, because Sarr's defense is that good. And then also Reed Shepherd has a super high floor, because even if he's not a good defender, even if his playmaking really isn't the greatest at the NBA level, he's still going to be a knockdown shooter. So yeah, I would say Klingon 1, slight runner-up, like very close, like 51-49 split, or like 51-48 split to Sarr, and then I wanted to give a little love to Reed Shepherd as well. And then for the highest ceiling, it's Alex Sarr, man. Sarr's going to have a lot of superlatives here, because I do think he is going to be the number 1 pick, or at least the best player in this draft, because if he's able to develop the outside shot, if his ball handling really develops what we saw last year with Perth, this guy is going to be a nightmare for teams defensively. He's not going to be Victor Wembanyama, but he's honestly going to have shades of Wemby and Chet. Maybe not to their fullest potential, but man, he is another unicorn entering the league with his size, with his ball handling ability, his finishing touch, his ability to potentially space the floor, and his ability to potentially win Defensive Player of the Year awards. It's like Evan Mobley defense at USC. It's like Aaron Jackson Jr. defense at Michigan State. There is real deploy potential in Alex Sarr, 100%. And I think runner-ups are Matas Buzelis and Zachary Sachet. For Buzelis, if he develops an outside shot, he's going to be a nightmare for teams defensively as well because of his ball handling ability. For somebody of his size, like 6'9", 6'10", able to develop a consistent outside shot, step back jumper, pull-up jumper, solid post game, needs to work on the shot to be more consistent. Was a good shooter in high school, was not a great shooter at the G League Ignite last year, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the environment. And he is somebody that definitely needs to also work on just getting stronger. Same with Reese Hachey. And if he's able to be more of an inside presence guy too, he could be somebody that's one of the best players, if not the best player from this draft class. And I do think Zachary Reese Hachey could kind of be similar. He needs to get stronger. He's very skinny if you watch him at Jailberg. But he's someone that has a great step back jumper, a great pull-up jumper. He can still finish inside. For someone as skinny as he is, he's got a great size. He's got a good ball handle ability. I think he needs to work on a shot creation when like defenses are focusing on him and he's got one of the top defenders on him. He needs to work on creating separation and being able to finish at the rim in that aspect. But overall, the game is good right now. That's why he's going to be a top 5 pick. And then he also, like I said, needs to get stronger. And I also wanted to give some love to Tyler Smith, because Tyler Smith's shot, I think, is going to play right away. And if he becomes a good rim protector, and I think a little bit better of a ball handler, he's a sneaky top 5 player in this class for sure. And speaking of Tyler Smith, for versatility, he's the most versatile player in this class, in my opinion. He could play the 3, because I think his ball handling ability is solid. I think he's quick on defense. He could play the 4, because he's 6'10". He could rim protect. He can also guard guys on the perimeter. And I think he could play the 5 as well, because I think he actually could be an okay rim protector right away. I wonder if he's going to be able to work on the offensive game and defensive game to be where he's like elite on both ends of the floor throughout the course of his career. Definitely depends on where he gets drafted to and who's playing around him to help him out. And like, is he going to have a good point guard? Is he going to have a good adjacent big man partner? But the shot looks so good. I'm a big fan of Tyler Smith's jumper for somebody of his size. In my opinion, the best shooting big man in this class. Even if like the numbers at the combine didn't show that, it's more NBA ready than Klingon, Edey, Ware, Misi, Filipowski, Alex Sarr. Yeah, like Tyler Smith is the best shooting big man in this class, in my opinion. And then I also think he's strong enough, physical enough where he can attack the rim. And Deron Holmes as well, got to give some love to, because he can space the floor. Should have mentioned him in the jumpers, because Holmes has a better jumper than some of these other guys also, but he can also be a very good post scorer and a very physical defender as well. And he could play the 4 or the 5 and be pretty versatile for teams for years to come. For game IQ, just basketball IQ overall, I got Tyler Kolek as my number 1 guy. I think he's a very smart player. 100%. He's a little bit on the older side compared to my one runner-up, and then we have another fifth-year guy as another runner-up as well. But Kolek, I think, is someone that when things are not going their way, like sometimes that happened for Marquette this past year, he's able to get his teammates involved. He's able to tell everybody, like, it's going to be okay, break down the defense, slow the game down, and get high-quality shots. There's very rare times where Kolek is taking bad shots or setting up his teammates for bad shots. And I think Kolek has some of the best game IQ in this class. Stephon Castle as well. well. I don't think it's as good as Kolek or my other runner-up right now, but for somebody as a freshman, as young as he is, and how smart he was at UConn this past season in big games as well, yeah, he's got some of the best basketball IQ already, knowing when to cut and slash, knowing where to be on the defensive end of the floor, and honestly, knowing when to attack at certain times in the half court offensively. There's obviously questions with the jumper, but if he is a consistent jumper, he's going to be such a good shooter because he's going to know when to get open. And then lastly, he's a fifth-year guy. He's going to be like the only guy I'm going to talk about here that's not going to be a first-round pick, or maybe one other guy, and that's Cam Spencer. Cam Spencer is one of the smarter and higher IQ players in this draft class. He knows how to break down a defense as well. At least he did at the college level. Don't think it's going to be a good translation to the NBA level, but he can play off of 2 feet. He knows when to make the pass or take a shot. High quality shots as well. One of the best shooters in this draft class. I wanted to give some love to Cam Spencer. For just underrated overall, I think what they are as a player compared to where they're in mock drafts, Isaiah Collier is one of the more underrated players, if not the most underrated player in this draft class. Isaiah Collier was really good after the pretty much 4 to 6 weeks he missed with that hand wrist injury this past year at USC. He can attack the rim. He's got one of the best free throw rates in this draft class, and he could be a 20-point per game scorer at the NBA level if he becomes a good free throw shooter. He's good finishing at the rim. He has a mid-range jumper. He could shoot the 3-ball. Isaiah Collier, work on the free throws, man. Why were you a sub 70% free throw shooter on getting more than 5 attempts a night? Like, he could have been flirting with 20 points per game at USC if he was able to be a good free throw shooter. But I think he's going to be a good defender. And he could be like a Tyrese Maxey level steal if he falls outside the lottery. Bub Carrington, I think, is super underrated as well. I think he should be closer to 15 than he is to 25 in some mocks for a non-lottery pick. Like, he should definitely go above guys like Keyshawn George, Johnny Furphy, even Tyler Kolek, who I'm a big fan of. Even if it's to a team like the Nuggets, who could use a win-now guy, or Milwaukee or Phoenix, I still think you take Carrington because of the ceiling he has. And I think Adem Bona is pretty underrated. I think he should be talked about as a fringe first rounder. For someone as athletic, he plays as hard as anybody out there, and he could be a legit rim protector or at least great post defender in this league. And to wrap out the superlatives, we have dog mentality here. Just somebody that plays with aggressiveness, super competitive, high motor. I think Matas Buzelis, sneaky, just dog mentality. He wanted to like 1v1 Zachary Risachet. Love that. Like, I would love to see more of that. He's someone that is going to step up to any challenge, even if it makes him look bad. And I love that in somebody. Not being afraid of failing, and someone that plays as hard as he does. And that's why I want to see his shot develop. I do, man, because he could be a really special player in this league. And then I have to give Devin Carter some love. You could have talked about Devin Carter in perimeter defender. I mean, he's definitely the best rebounding guard in this class by far. He can knock down shots. He's going to dive for loose balls. He's going to attack the offensive and defensive glass. He's going to try his ass off defensively. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Devin Carter going forward, and he's going to be talked in dog mentality for sure. So yeah, that is going to be this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did on YouTube, I'd appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. This episode, hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Like I said, I would appreciate it if you're watching on YouTube to go hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and listen over there. Help it grow on the podcast platforms, because got something special coming up. Or I'm going to be, I guess, big news, like sponsoring with a podcast network. So I don't think anything should change here at all, but it's going to give a good opportunity for the podcast to grow. So be on the lookout for that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.